Dear Diary, making the decision to immigrate to Calgary felt like I was placing an Amazon order for freedom, endless possibilities, social security, and a beautiful world of seamlessly integrated multiculturalism. Only instead of autofilling my credit card information, clicking buy now, and receiving my package the next day, I spent months filling out paperwork and acquiring various documentations. And I spent years waiting for my visa. And when my metaphorical package finally did arrive, it wasn't exactly what I ordered.
We're Onya and Tomi, and on Diary of a Niger Immigrant, we're talking about what happens after you buy that one-way ticket. We'll chat with guests and hear their immigration stories. We'll commiserate, celebrate wins, and gossip about recent microaggressions. Buckle up, y'all.
And we're live.
Okay, we're live.
Okay.
Yeah. Welcome, Maria.
Welcome.
Today
Thanks
we
for joining
have an
us.
Awesome guest with us.
Yay.
And I'm so excited about this one.
Okay.
The amazing Maria Udalor. And she's also a podcaster,
Ooh,
which is awesome.
Love
she,
that.
Yeah,
That's right.
she gives little nuggets
Yes.
every week. Like she does this
Wow.
every week, which
Yes.
is
Almost actually.
I have a cow.
I do bi-weekly. I used to do every week. But 2023, my schedule got so tight.
Yeah.
So then I decided to do bi-weekly and it still works. So.
yeah,
Awesome.
which is good.
Okay,
like,
we'll have to plug your podcast. You'll have to tell us all about it.
Yeah,
Sure.
Like I don't know how you do it, but that it takes discipline to be able to actually
yes.
stick to a schedule of doing a podcast, whether
That's
weekly or bi-weekly or
That's
whatever.
true.
So
That's
amazing
true.
work, and yeah.
That's
So
true.
Maria, can you tell us a little more about yourself?
Yes. So hi everyone. I am so I'm so positive. So don't mind me if I get really emotional and very touchy. So hi, I like to use very positive words. So hi lovely people. And my name is Maria Udalor. She introduced me. My favorite color is black. My favorite thing is being black. So I am Black Maria. That's how I call myself. And I am the host of Self-Love Affirmations podcast. It's a very, very, very short podcast that gives you kind of like nuggets bi-weekly. It used to be weekly, now it's bi-weekly. And it's pretty much just kind of like that positive reinforcement, but not from someone else, from you to you.
I love that.
Yes. I am married. I have 2 lovely babies. I call them my eggs. And Kayla is 12. Ethan is 8. More about my podcast. As an immigrant woman, and you know, when you're away, and that's the thing about immigration, you come with your, say, nuclear family, and then it's beautiful here. It's really nice. Yeah, amazing people. It's a lovely place to raise your children. But then one thing is you leave behind your whole support system. You know, so I really went under, like I got really depressed and no one could pull me out of that. It took me to pull myself out. So self-love affirmation podcast it's born out of the fact that at my darkest times, self-affirmations pulled me off from the ledge. So that's how come. So I just post like 5, not up to 10 minutes, say 5, 6, 7 minutes, depending on how moved I am.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just leave little nuggets just to encourage you. Like, are you doubting yourself today? Are you mad at something? It's okay. You know? Yeah. So that's it.
Wow. I love that so much. I mean, I feel like that gives already, I have so many questions. That gives us so much. And I love what you said about just being like at your darkest place, because I think that's where often people go for support and reach outwards, which as you should. But just knowing that there was something in there that you had to do for yourself, that's so interesting. Sure. And can't wait to hear more about that. I'm curious because you kind of talked about what it felt like once you were here and what you were giving up. Can you just tell us a little bit about, like, walk us through a little bit your immigration journey, like what brought you here?
So we all know Nigeria, civil unrest, political unrest, everything going on, and we just wanted to give and that's the truth, like we wanted to give our kids a shot at a better life. So that was the initial intention. But when we got here, I was having a conversation with someone and she opened my eyes to something. I said, we came to Canada to give, and when we were coming, to be very honest, we searched. We were like, where is the best place in the world to raise your children? And Canada was number 2.
Interesting.
Calgary. We wanted to go to Oakville in Ontario.
Okay.
But when we were doing that research, and that's everything we did. And then I said, wait, Canada is a very big place. Let's find somewhere. And then we said, in Canada, where is the best place to raise your children? It was the year 2011. And that year, Calgary was the best place in Canada to raise your children.
Interesting.
Yes. And it was the 5th best place in the world.
You're kidding.
Yes.
So, wow. I am so interested to hear that criteria.
That's the thing.
So
I'm
you're
like,
looking at
I'm like, this place is trash.
My friend, you are privileged.
Like apparently 5th best place in the world. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, serious. So at this time, we had lived in Lagos for 10 years. And, I'm not trying to put down anywhere, but, like the burglary proof. I remember we were robbed at some point at gunpoint.
Wow.
And I was sitting in the back because I just had my newborn baby. I used to carry her in this little basket. So I was sitting with her in the back and I saw them point the gun on my husband's head. And the back windows were tinted, so they didn't even know we were there.
You were there.
So it was only when I started screaming that the guy, he he turned to me and turned back to my husband. Like he freaked out too and he told me to shut up. But you know what's so funny? I thought he was going to steal my baby. So I hit the baby under my feet. That was like
but that's the instinct, exactly. Yeah.
I just felt that was the first thing. Like if you saw the baby, you would like give that baby to me. So I hit the baby under my seat and I was like, God, please let him not hear my baby cry or make any sound or anything. But so those are one of the things that kind of like made us like start giving it a thought. And it was, for me, it was all, and that's it. It was all about my baby. I just wanted to take my baby somewhere safe. So then that's how come we started researching, like, where's the best place to raise your children? And it was Calgary. They have like they're one of the cities with the most parks. And then there are playgrounds, and then you take your kids out. I remember this was pre-pandemic. Our kids would just go out and play and come back like at 9 p.m. Here. And this is something, I don't know if there's anywhere like that in Nigeria where your children can just go out and play.
Even crossing the road.
You get, and then come back at 9 p.m. So I know things are no longer exactly that way. And I mean, it's just 2020, it's the time we live in. However, so that was it. So then we moved here, and then when we moved here, it's a little funny, but it's real. It's reality. So we rented like a condo, and this is it. This is just the truth. Honestly, this is me being transparent. When I had a fight with my husband, it's freezing cold outside. I can't even go outside.
For a walk.
So I'm just stuck in this 2-bedroom. And I'm just looking at this man. Like, can you imagine? There's just nowhere to go to. It's either the baby's little tiny room or our room that was also very tiny with a very tiny bed, or the living room. We just, in each other's space, there was really nowhere to go to, and you were forced to either fix it.
And you're in a new place too, so it's not like you can call up your best friend and be like, I'm coming over, right? Like you're in a brand new place. So,
I was losing my mind. I was like, oh my God, what have I done? So I had to learn, and then then I had another baby, so there were two babies, and then we're living in this small space. And when we had a fight, this really all when I was unhappy or when I even just needed my space, it was so cold out. There was really nowhere to go to, no one to turn to, and then that's when I started turning into myself. Like, I know I'm not feeling the greatest. I have to find a way to calm down, to find peace within me, and just like relax and chill and just take things easy. And just picture that maybe I am somewhere else in Maldives or Seychelles. I'm not here. And that's how it started working. And I found that, you know what? My body actually listens to me. You know, my body actually listens to me. So that's how I got there. I only started recording podcasts like last year. But affirmations helped me because I found that my body actually listens to me. And that's when I started understanding that happiness is a choice. You know, you can choose to be super mad, or you can choose to say, you know what, this is really getting on my last nerves, but you know what, I'm just going to park that feeling aside. You know, so yeah.
So I just want to understand, like, just to also help people understand. You moved to Calgary with one kid or two kids?
This is very interesting also. So we started processing to move to Canada 2011 officially, and then a lot happened, and then we moved 2014. So at that time, in fact, we had decided we were not going to move. We had given up on that process. So I was pregnant, and I was almost even popping. I think I was like 6 months or so gone when immigration came, and they were like, take it, or if you don't, you start the process all over. So we had to really rush things because, you know, at some point when you're pregnant, you can't fly anymore.
Right.
So we had to, you know, speed things up, and then we left. So I came in November 2014, and I had my baby January.
Oof. Okay. Wow. I have so many questions. Yeah.
So your first baby or your second baby?
My second baby.
So you came with a
3-year-old.
A 3-year-old.
And then
heavily pregnant.
Heavily pregnant.
Interesting.
Trust me, I landed in November. The day we landed was minus. The day we landed was there was a Chinook.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's not so bad here.
Nice. Yeah. I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
It was minus 21. It was very different for sure. Yeah. But I was pregnant, and I was always very hot.
Oh, right.
So
Yeah.
I welcomed the cool weather. Yeah. And then the very next day, the Chinook was over, and it was minus 31. And there was a snow dump, and I was like, nah, brah.
Your kids didn't want to go out and play.
Oh my gosh.
No, so but then, and this is very fun, like, you know, when you're heavily pregnant and then you have to wear socks and then your boots. It's the most
bending down,
just like getting them
ever.
on.
So,
okay,
I know, right? So it wasn't necessarily even the snow or I still had to deal with that, but I was already heavy, and then putting on a winter jacket, and then bending over to put on your socks and your shoes. You don't even know how difficult it is.
I can relate.
I've been there twice. So it wasn't even funny. It wasn't funny, but yes. So then I had my son in January, and yeah.
Wow. I'm so curious how you were feeling, because, I mean, there's just so much transitioning happening within such a short period of time. So if you fast forward to January, you're just had a baby, you're in a brand new place. Yeah. I'm sure that's affecting your relationship, that's affecting your relationship with your kids, and you're also just having a baby, which is a crazy transition. Right? You're postpartum.
Yeah.
Did you recognize yourself? Like, did it feel like, because it just feels like a lot.
A lot. It was a lot, to be very honest. It was a whole lot. And a lot was going on because if I had my daughter in Nigeria, I had my mother-in-law, my mom. My mom has this very strong belief: a baby is not born until the navel has come off. So we were not even allowed to touch the baby. My daughter, that's Kayla, we weren't even allowed to touch her. That my mother-in-law, they hovered over the baby. I was only allowed to sit and breastfeed. So by the time I had my son here in January, and they sent me home with a baby after day one, with a brand newborn baby, I had no clue what I needed to be doing because I was so mad at my mom. Like, why did you spoil me with the first when you knew you won't be there for the second? Like, I know she couldn't control that. No one knew the future, but still, I was so clueless. But yes, I had to. There's so many resources out there, and the healthcare system here is actually very good. There was a nurse that was checking in on me. They asked me if I wanted someone to move in with me, if I wanted alternative like accommodation and all of that. But at this time, I just wanted to have my space and just take care of my baby. So even the nurse coming around, postpartum comes with the blues, the depression. Okay, now the baby's here, super excitement. Oh, now sleepless nights, So I had to deal with all of that. But it was so much, and I feel so bad because it had its own impact on even my daughter. Interestingly, my husband had to go back to Nigeria. So it was...
Like, after you gave birth, or like how?
To be very honest, a couple weeks before I gave birth.
What?
Yes, it was a journey. So
Wow.
yeah.
Why?
Okay, so you were
why?
really doing all this
Work.
Yeah.
Wow.
But why?
Work.
Oh, work.
Yeah, we had to come on time because if we didn't come on time, I wouldn't be able to fly.
Yeah.
So we had to leave, and then there was so I came way before my due date. So he only had enough, like, so much vacation days, right?
Yeah.
So he had to go back and then finalize everything in Nigeria before coming back. So he came back like when the baby was like 4 or 5 months. So that's what I'm talking about. So there were the dark days.
Yeah.
I remember I used to go into the laundry room when the washer was on, and I would just yell because I didn't want the baby and my daughter Kayla and Ethan. I didn't even want them to be affected because they already were.
Yeah.
No friends, new environment, new accents. They had to deal with that. The baby was fine. I mean, he didn't know what was going on, but Kayla had to deal with new friends, new culture, new accents, the whole culture shock. The culture shock is a different story entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, there was that. It was a whole lot. So yes, I got to rock bottom. Like I got to a point where I remember I was saying this to my doctor, and then he said, "No, you have to see someone because I know what you're saying, and it's not even what you're thinking." I told my doctor, I said, sometimes I just feel like walking nonstop and just keep walking and never look back. And he says, describe this road. I said, it's a very lonely path. I'm working towards the sun and I don't want to turn back. I just want to keep walking. And he said, do you know what you're saying? And I'm like, I just want to walk and never stop walking and never turn back. He said, you're cautiously, you have suicidal thoughts, but you're making them very positive because you're a very positive person. And it hit me. I was like, oh, okay, I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So then he says, you have to see someone. And I'm like, no, I don't. But no, I didn't see someone. Sadly, I don't know. I didn't see someone. Luckily for me, I was able to help myself walk backwards from there to where I am today. So,
and what did that look like for you?
So, and that's exactly what I was saying too, right? I started talking to myself, telling myself it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. I would tell myself things like, you know what, we're sad right now, but let's pause. Let's make the babies happy. And once they've gone to bed, we'll deal with those emotions. And I started noticing that it was working. That means my body listens to me when I speak. So I started, it was like a game to me. I'll be like, okay, you know what? How about we deal with these feelings on the weekend?
Interesting.
So, and the mind listens. And then recently I read somewhere, it says that words are called spells, spelling. The spelling of a word, because words are actually spells. So when we speak, we're casting spells. So be very careful what you say to yourself, because it's not only the ears that listen. All of you is listening. So, yeah.
Ooh, I love that. I like that.
That's really cool. I can't stop listening to you. I'm just like, Why don't I have this kind of mindset? Like, why? I try to be positive, but at the
Yes.
same time, there are sometimes you're just like, oh, I can't deal with
course,
this. Like, I
yeah.
don't want to deal with this. And it's just you just trying to vent
Yes.
and trying to let it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you talking about positivity. I'm just like, at that point, I'm not even thinking positive. I'm just like, God, I'm suffering. What kind of wahala is
You know what? My sister says something to me. She said she learned something from me.
Yeah.
I say everything you said. I end it with, and it's okay. So she said she learned that from me, and it's so calming. I'm so mad right now. I feel like breaking down into tears, but you know what? It's okay. That's it. And once you say it, you accept yourself. You accept you're
Yeah.
human. I also like I don't say I'm an avid reader, but I love to read. And when I love to read, not like novels, just words. Anything I just want to read, So I read somewhere that said oh, I lost my chain of thought. That's another thing. I forget very easily.
Mom
Your
talking
brain.
about saying it's okay.
Yes.
that
So
happen?
it's okay. Like it's okay. But you know what? Like when you say like I was saying that our body listens to us, right? So when you say it's okay to yourself, you're reinforcing, you're acknowledging that, look, you know what? I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
I'm only human. And then, I remember that it's okay that I was talking about. I read somewhere recently in the Bible. It's, I think, and I hope it's okay if I just quickly share this.
Go
Of
ahead.
course.
I think it's Ephesians 4:26. This was actually very new to me. It says that the whole premise of that verse is saying it's okay to be angry. It's an emotion. We're human. That's how God created us. We feel emotion. Now, what you do with that anger is where sin comes in. And I was like, what? So I'm allowed to be angry? Anger, here I come. I'm just
You're
not
like, wow.
allowed to
Yeah.
act out of anger, right? So
Yeah.
I thought to be angry was a sin. But now I understand that to be angry is an emotion, and that's okay. That's okay.
What month were you born in? I'm trying to bring that in.
You're like, what's your sign?
Yeah, what's your sign?
Really? You guys are into that?
Yeah, no, really. I try to tell myself that I'm not into that, but
I know,
sometimes I'm
same.
just like, this thing sounds like something
Oh,
that could
You're
be.
like, it's giving Gemini.
Yeah,
I actually don't. I'm the same though, where I'm like, I'm not into that, but then I'm so, anytime someone like tells me something,
Exactly.
I'm like, that's so me.
Yeah.
And so I'm
And
like,
I want to see
wanna
if
get
there's a
into it.
similarity.
I know,
Yeah.
I do too.
So what
I'm so sorry, I'm
month?
finding
What
this
month
so
are you
funny.
born in?
Don't judge us.
No, I'm not. I actually love, like, I enjoy that conversation. It's just something I'm not invested
Fair.
in.
Yeah.
Honestly,
So
fair.
so I was born in August, so Virgo.
Okay. Oh, so you know you're a Virgo.
Oh, of course, you have to know.
We always have a good laugh around that when
Yeah.
you say, "Oh, it's just my stars aligning." I'm
Yeah, yeah.
Sagittarius, and I'm just like,
I
"Oh,
know.
no, you're
Every
just
time
being
people
me."
are like, "Oh yeah, my whatever is in retrograde and my rising," I'm like, "What does that mean?"
I know, right?
But I want to.
So it's so
That's
funny that we're
funny.
having this conversation.
No, I love it.
Yeah. So I was when
I'm very curious because I feel like a lot of things that you're saying of just like that, like the practice of self-soothing and like it's
Yeah.
okay and all this stuff. It really sounds like you've come to a like that really requires a position of self-love and a
Yes.
really deep love for yourself. That's the kind of
Yes.
support, nurturing, everything like that we all would offer to our friends, right? Or would want to
Yes.
offer to our best
Yes.
friend. And I
Yes.
feel like so many people have a hard time offering that to themselves.
Yes.
So can you talk to us a little bit about your self-image, your sense of self, and have you always kind of had a deep sense of love? What has that looked like? I mean, self-image obviously encompasses so many things, like
Yes.
mental health, body image, just how we like it, so many different areas.
That's right.
So yeah, how have you kind of developed that self-love? What has your journey looked like?
So it started with the self-affirmations, affirming that it's okay. Okay, so I didn't clean up, I didn't catch up. Like I used to feel like such a bad mom. Like I'm not even going to mince words. Like I felt like such a bad mom because I was really struggling to balance I had this whole like goal of how to raise my children in the best place in the world and all of that. And none of that was happening. I didn't feel that way at all. And I just used to feel like I was really slacking in every aspect of my job was suffering. And I'm talking about when the kids were a bit older at this point. My job was suffering. My kids, like I just felt like I was just kind of 50-50 all over the place. But I was alive. I was here, and at that point, I wasn't trying to be better. I was just trying to be.
Yeah.
Right? I was just trying to be. And then I was here. At this point, I was working. I was raising my children, and I started trying to be better. And then when I got better, then you know how like you just some days I just sit and it's just like kind of like a self-realization. I started thinking to myself like, if I listen to myself, if my body hears everything I'm saying, then you know what? Like my husband, if you look at my workstation, he has so many affirmations that he gives to me because he knows that growing up, I grew up with like self-image issues. So, and my husband would tell me, oh, you're one of the most beautiful people I've met in and out. Like you're a beautiful person, and you're also, and I'll just be like, Yimu. I never believed
don't believe it. Yeah.
I never believed it until I started practicing like self-affirmations, like being better. Then I started telling myself, I started trying to believe what I read in books about self-love and accepting that you're beautiful. You know, there's a saying they say, there's beauty in everything, but not everyone sees it. I know that saying, it's on one of the blankets in my house, it's on a pillow, it's on a painting, whatever. But I never applied it to myself. Like, there's beauty in everything, but not everyone sees it. Even in ourselves. We're beautiful, but we don't see it. There's beauty in everything, including in ourselves, but we don't see it. And it hit me, and I looked at the mirror, and I said, Maria, you're beautiful. I had a good laugh. I laughed. I was like, listen, man, you done the Chris. This is madness.
Just because you told yourself that you're beautiful.
Oh my gosh, you're like, I'm crazy.
You can listen to the rest of this conversation by searching The Diary of a Niger Immigrant on cgsw.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Diary of a Niger Immigrant is presented by Afros in the City in collaboration with Through Onyi's Lens.
You can keep up with us on Instagram by following Afros in the City, following Through Onyi's Lens, and of course, following Diary of a Niger Immigrant. Once you've done all that, just keep listening. Rate us, review us, love us, root for us. Until next time.